Alexander Perna, welcome to F.A.C.E. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Dale. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I really looking forward to getting to know you a little bit, Alexander. I'll walk you through for the screen share. You just run your cursor. Oh, I thought you only had a mic.
No, I have a video. I just didn't get it all set up. I haven't done a webinar in a really long time. So,
Okay.
there you are.
Okay, I just have to do something. Choose background. I thought you basically just had. You said I'm working on a laptop with a mic. Anyway, do you want to do
Yes.
some screen sharing here?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. So what you do is you just scroll your cursor down at the bottom,
Oh, I see.
and you'll see a share screen. And I'm interested because you're a proponent and a user of RSI, and despite a lot of people's criticism of indicators, and at times, it has, nothing works all the time. Um, I think it's an important tool for a few different reasons that you could use it to be with the trend or look for inflection points. So interested to hear your use of the RSI, but first, can you go back and tell us a little bit about your journey, Alexander, and where you were? Did you always think when you were young you're going to be doing this, or was it a long and winding road that got you here? What were you doing before you were in the industry?
Oh man, working for Five Guys. So I don't know if you've had any of their burgers. Still love them, but don't.
I've never had one. I'm a burger
No.
fan.
Five Guys and In and Out. It's hard
Okay.
for me. That's like my top two. But
Okay.
so a little bit about me. I guess one of the nice things that I have going for me is that I came to trading pretty early on. So I was about 18 or so, and I know that's like common now. Actually, there's so
Right,
many
it is.
young traders coming in, especially
Yeah.
after COVID. But back in 2008,
It was unusual.
really wasn't. Yeah, really unusual. So I'm 33 now, so been involved with the markets for quite a bit of my life. Started working for a fairly well-known trading company, a school, teaches people how to trade, kind of worked my way up through the ranks and then left right after COVID. So it was a very travel intensive job. And so once COVID kind of hit, the travel stopped. The webinars are nice, but I really like getting up in front of people. I used to teach classes of maybe 10 to 25 individuals at a time for about a week. And so I did that for a good 5 years, working for that company. Wow. For a total of about 13. So that's really where I got my trading knowledge, my education. It was really neat. I got to rub shoulders with a lot of traders who just have the experience that I dream about, working on the floor and just being there, whether it was the CME or the NYSE, just really cool experience for me to kind of get not just the trading side, but the psychology side, and being able to talk to traders, having that community is really what brought me up. So I've been doing this now since I've been trading live probably since 2010. I invest in stocks and options, primarily trading Forex. I do a little bit of commodities, mostly the metals. And
okay,
let's see, that's my trading background.
So you must have, I tell you, you had a lot of stamina and a lot of patience to teach for that long and with that intensity.
Oh yeah, a lot of talking when you're just trying to go through the kind of nuts and bolts of the market and pack it into a week. Makes it kind of tough, but it was a really good experience.
So are you just, I saw on your Twitter feed that basically I don't see a service you're promoting here on Twitter.
No,
You're
I
just
don't.
just
I
trading your own account
just
right
trading
now.
my own account. So I did the Limelight public thing for a bit of time, and so it was nice just to kind of become a hermit for a little bit, hide out. Um, I got, actually, that's really when I got involved with social media. So if you check my Twitter, it's like April 2020, because I'm sitting there not really able to, get out of the house. So that was the time to really start social media. So even before 2020, I wasn't really involved with Twitter or
Okay.
Instagram or Facebook, YouTube. I had a very packed life. I love to travel. I love to see different parts of the world, different cultures. So if I wasn't in the classroom, I was somewhere else, normally in Asia, and didn't really keep up with the social media thing. It's hard to do that stuff when you're on like a 2-week motorcycle trip through Vietnam. It gets remote.
Okay. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about RSI and how you use it in the markets? I'm looking for, I see over on the right-hand side, I don't see any RSI on your charts on the left side, but it
I
looks like, do you mean RSI by using the relative strength index, or are you just talking about um, relative strength as far as what is displaying the most strength and weakness and making your trade selections that way?
Yeah, you got it. A lot of people assume, especially when I say relative strength, they think of the indicator, good
Okay,
old
you're going
Wells
back to
Wilder there.
investor business daily days where they would have relative strength rankings of securities,
Yeah, I
right?
mean it's maybe it's not the most common way to analyze the market, but it certainly can be done in any of the assets, stocks, even like futures. What I like about where I really got it from is the Forex market, just because it makes it so really explicit. When we're looking at a ticker symbol, it's showing us that there's basically two products that we're comparing to one another. Right? We never trade the euro, or we don't just trade the dollar, but we trade a relationship between those two.
Okay.
And that's really what got me started, because we know when you think about it, everything's a pair. If price is changing, you're comparing two different things, whether it's SPY to dollars, oil to dollars,
Yeah.
the shoes that you buy at the store, $2. It's a shoe dollar pair. Which
So let me ask
hopefully,
you, let me ask you why. You like to differentiate relative strength within currencies, like, is like euro pound going up makes
hmm,
euro your preferred long, right? Cable your preferred short. But you chose the dollar to talk about here today, and that doesn't give you it's pretty much heavily weighted euro. But why don't we start with what you're seeing on your different time frames in the dollar, and if your work is saying what would it take to say that this pullback in the dollar is more than a correction?
okay, so just to start off, I don't derive these values from indexes.
Right.
Like you said, the dollar index, the Dixie, heavily weighted into the euro. So it's basically just an inverse picture. What I actually do is I look at the individual currency pairs. So
Yeah.
I'll basket all the euro pairs, euro dollar, euro yen, euro pound, euro New Zealand, all the way down. And I'll do an analysis on each individual euro pair to give me an idea of what is the strength of the euro across the board.
Right.
And once I kind of go through that analysis, I'm able to put the single currencies in numerical order. So as you see on the
Right.
right side of my screen, like right now, New Zealand is at the top. I don't know why this one. There we go. So you can see New Zealand has been at the top, starting to gain some strength. The blue line here's the dollar starting to gain some strength. These ones over here are longer time frames, but this is what I post on Twitter, just to give a more kind of more frequency to it. This can change every day, where these ones on the right of this window really are deriving the values from like weekly charts and daily charts. So very, very high time frame. This one's from a 4-hour, so it gives it a little bit more robustness. Can kind of see what currencies are doing better. Kind of comparing these charts. Notice how New Zealand is just at the bottom. I mean, it's been
Right.
getting whaled. As part of
Commodity
the
currencies.
yeah, the commodity block hasn't been doing well. But recently, it's been, trying to push back and claw back some of its losses. So you can see New Zealand for a little bit has had strength. There you go. You can see it kind of topped out here. So just kind of looking at that New Zealand kind of structure, for me, this would be more of New Zealand's in some kind of pullback. Right. So the strength that we're seeing in New Zealand is really just the market kind of
bear market rally.
Yeah, taking a little breath. I mean, I do look at the Dixie. Don't really trade it. It's more of just got to get a bias. If I'm going to trade euro dollar, if I'm going to trade dollar yen, I want to know what the dollar's doing. So, I put levels on here. I would say relative strength is a tool. My strategy is supply and demand. So that's what I've taught when I was in the education circuit. Supply and demand zones made popular by Sam Seiden, Online Trading Academy, that kind of group.
Finally, the confession.
Well, I didn't want to advertise anything on someone else's channel.
They're still in business, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were doing fine. I mean, COVID really took a lot out of them because they were primarily physical classrooms. So, they had to go through a time where no one was allowed to see anyone else, including your grandparents. So
was that the only problem that got heavily fined for something? Who was the regulator that fined them?
I didn't really stay too much up on it. I know it was part of the sales team kind of thing. From what I heard, from what they told me, it was more like testimonial things. So someone has a testimonial saying, I made $10,000 in this trade. If that's not the average result of all of your traders, then you can't say that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where it all started to unwind. And then on top of that,
but
COVID.
They survived it. They survived it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They paid the ticket. They paid the ticket, and they probably have better compliance now, and they moved on. So, okay. And that's what they teach, really, the supply demand zones, right? They made that very popular.
Yeah, that's what they call the core strategy. That's kind of how it developed. When I started as a student, it was just pay for a course.
Yeah, what did you pay when you signed up?
I paid about $7,000 for the class, and the classes were lifetime, and that was always great. But back then it was kind of come into a classroom and we'll put you in front of someone who's actually trading, actually making money. The problem with that is, you go to take a retake, because we had lifetime retakes, and it was with a different instructor who traded differently. So, there wasn't even really any connection between one class and the other. It was just, hey, get in front of someone who trades and just take that week with them. So over time, they did start to really hone in on supply and demand, probably around 2009 or so. 2010 is when they really kind of made it their focus. And then that was what it was since. And I've always traded supply and demand. I've dabbled in pretty much all the other indicators. When I was 20, I was taking the CMT tests. I stopped at the second level because back then they said if you didn't work for a brokerage, then you don't have industry experience. So I kind of just gave that up. But I love the markets. I love technical analysis. I do that kind of study stuff as a hobby, to be honest.
Why are you on social media if you're just trading your own account? Are you lonely?
Um, it did get lonely. I was used to working in a community.
Right. Yeah.
I
It's
was
an
used to
adjustment.
working. It
Yeah.
was, and it was had to find something else to kind of fill my time. I actually lowered my time frames before COVID. I never went under a 4-hour time frame. Now I primarily trade the 1 hour. So time frames dropped down a little bit to give me something to do. But it was also, once I left, uh, my relative strength is proprietary to me. And even though I would teach how to do it in my classes, a lot of people just kind of want to be given the value. So I thought this
Yeah,
would be a good way.
because actually someone asked about that just now, an attendee,
Oh,
how Alexander did that currency strength indicator in TradingView.
this was actually programmed for me. So I am not a coder by any means. I can barely type. These are
You,
my
you know,
tiny fingers.
you, ForexAnalytix has a great community. I mean, a lot of people that make a living from their. I'm a big believer in it. I mean, we only have 2 eyes. You ought to
Yeah,
check ours out if you're looking for people to collaborate with. It's really um, dynamic.
yeah.
So
I mean, I think that's
I
a
didn't
huge
invite you
value.
on to solicit you to join ForexAnalytix, but it is a fact that it's a great community and people have been with us for 10 years. So the
Hmm,
retention is a statement.
yeah, nice.
Okay, so do you have a view on the dollar? Are you more of a day trader scalper, or do you ever have some long-term views that you take a stand with, and that we could be near some inflection points here? I mean, the dollar's been on a run forever.
Hmm,
Everything
hmm.
ends. This too shall pass. Are we in your work starting to get to that window where perhaps the dollar is, in the ninth inning of its glory days?
Well, I'm a longer term trend trader, so
Okay.
more in the swing trading category. I don't day trade. I'm too
Yeah.
emotional for that. But this is my setup. Bottom right hand corner weekly, then we go
Okay.
daily upper right hand corner, four
Right.
hour on the bottom left hand corner, and then the 1 hour. So this is pretty
Yeah.
much what I look at. I am definitely a dollar bull.
Okay.
As a trend trader, I'm not really thinking about
Yeah,
when the
there's
next major reversal is going to be.
yeah,
But definitely with price at demand, we're getting some nice reaction here.
yeah,
Bullish
110.
engulfing pattern. Yeah, 110.
Yeah.
Heard you guys talking about that. I think extends a little bit lower. I mean, for me to really be like, okay, we're in major pullback mode. I would want to see, close below 109.27. But definitely that 110 is the psychological level that I think everyone's really looking at. But with that engulfing pattern, with just the overall structure of the daily time frame, I'm
Yeah.
definitely bullish. I'm going to remain bullish. Um,
Under
one more.
110, the picture changes for you.
At least in terms of going to see a much deeper pullback. So just kind of looking at the structure here, this is how I see the daily trend. So my swing low is until all the way down here. So we could have a much greater pullback, bringing us down to like that 105.50 area, which is kind of
Yeah.
like another psychological area. The zone's a little bit higher. But that would definitely be another place that I would look for. But I would definitely, I guess, back off of being aggressively bullish the dollar below that 110 area. And even looking at the Dixie, as much as this gives me a bias, what I would really be looking at is what is the euro looking like? If
Yeah.
uh, Euro's probably a bad example because it's just so weak. But the dollar could be falling, and the euro dollar is still going down. Oh, I guess that would be a good example, just in the relative strength. So we could get a retracement in the Dixie, and it doesn't really mess up the structure of like the euro downtrend. And so that's really
Okay.
where the rubber meets the road for me. I would take this information, and if we're looking at like Aussie dollar has been really good lately.
It's been weaker than the euro the last week or so. I mean, the recovery
Yeah.
in Aussie's been, to me, looks like, more feeble on a relative strength. And I thought it was going to lead when the dollar came off because it held up so well, never took out its COVID low.
Yeah,
Um,
something's happening here. It's not
where you
loading.
can't change your charts.
All of a sudden, trading view got slow. It says here, page unresponsive. What if I just exit?
Okay. Well, we're starting to, get to the point of wrapping it here. Do you
Oh
want
no, already?
Yeah, yeah. Do you want followers? You want people to, get in touch with you, Alexander, and so you could share your work?
Sure. I mean, I post stuff on Twitter. As you pointed out, I don't offer any services. I don't mentor. I don't teach anymore. I really just kind of post stuff on Twitter, what I'm looking at. I do post my relative strength stuff every day, normally around 8 p.m. Eastern time. I try to get it out for the beginning of the Asian session, and we kind of we'll go through that 24-hour period, and then I'll post it again 8 p.m. the next day, and I'll do that Sunday through Thursday. I don't do
Okay.
it on Friday because the market's closed,
Yeah.
going into the weekend. um, Other than that, no, I just y'all are welcome to follow me. I
Okay.
would love to. I can't believe this happened. Like right at the golden, I was gonna get to
Yeah.
something and look at candlesticks and charts, and I don't know why this is
Okay.
doing that.
Well, we could do it again. You could find Alexander at Who's Trend, like the band, the Who, HWHOS Trend is where you could find
Yeah.
Alexander. I'm
Mhm.
curious, someone who was well traveled throughout the country and maybe the world as an educator. Um, where do you trade from?
Um. Where
Yeah, where are you
I
now?
live in Florida. I live in Clearwater, Florida.
Okay,
So I'm still alive.
that's
I'm not a
good.
ghost. We made it through Ian, which is
Okay,
nice. We were very lucky here in Clearwater. We actually say that the grounds are kind of blessed by the Indian burials. That's kind of the saying around here. For the last 100 years, every storm that's had its eye on us just turns. So I'm sorry Miami, and I'm sorry
yeah.
New Orleans.
And if you could be anywhere in the world or places that you've seen, where would that dream take you?
It's really hard. I live in everyone else's vacation,
I know
Clearwater,
what you mean.
Florida. I mean,
I
I've been all around the world, and it's hard to point out a better beach.
okay,
Even Hawaii, or even Bali, Indonesia. Really hard to beat Clearwater. I just like to travel. If I could, my dream would be to have places all over. Be able to
yeah,
go spend time in Asia, and not so much Europe
right, yeah,
right now.
okay. Well,
But
go ahead.
yeah, I definitely I enjoy it. I enjoy.
It,
I guess outside of Clearwater, Japan was a really great place for me. I did Japanese swordsmanship for about 10 years,
wow,
very old kind of samurai styles. So, you know,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Well, I tell you, it was interesting to talk to you, Alexander. You've had quite a journey, and I'm rooting for you, and hope that this new life, on your own in the markets is a fruitful one.
Thank you,
And
Dale.
you're very
Thank you.
welcome, and appreciate you telling the story and your time at OTA and what you use and how you
Hmm.
think, and just was really nice to meet someone new off Twitter, and I could tell you're a pro because
Thank you.
do you think that it was worth the 7K that you paid OTA when you paid?
It was. I
It was,
mean, it
okay.
was. It's a lot more expensive these days,
Yeah.
but it was. It didn't just. I mean, it really changed my life. I mean, before stumbling across the markets, I was just like every other teenager. All I really cared about was, where was the next party? What's going on
Yeah.
this weekend?
Right.
The markets really, for the
They
first time in
grabbed
my
you.
life, it really did. It lit a passion. And I guess that's one of the very lucky things is that I was able to find passion very early on. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of misery in the world, and a lot of it has to do with settling and not going after those things that just create a flame within us. I think that's really important, and I would definitely say for any aspiring trader who's still struggling, you've got to find that passion, and that passion is going to drive that skill development, because win or lose, you love what you're doing. It's not what do they say? It's not people doing things to make them happy, but it's happy people doing things. It's that mindset where just wanting to know more. Even when I have a weekly drawdown, I'm interested. It's like, why did
Yeah.
that happen? Let me try to figure this out, rather than getting upset, pouting. Why is the market against me? I really find that passion as just that drive to keep pushing forward. So
Okay.
I was very lucky. I
I like
found it very early, and I would say I would pay 10 times what I paid if
it was a turning point for you, not necessarily what you learned, but the direction it steered you in. And we all have to keep moving on and live through adversity. If things don't work out, you have to push on and don't quit your dreaming. Don't quit your daydream. And I love your tagline you have, no days unalert.
right.
So thanks for alerting us to your journey and informing us and sharing some words from an experienced pro.
Thanks, Dale. And it was an honor to be here. Thanks for reaching out and inviting me in. That was really cool of you.
All
And I
right.
would love to come back, hopefully with charts that will update.
All right. Well, we'll talk again in a few months. All right.
Cool.
All right.
Take care,
Well,
Dale. Bye, everyone.
okay. Alexander Perna, everybody. You can follow him at Who's Trend. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. I think you heard it from Alexander, and I'm sure it wasn't an easy road, but here he is standing. So everyone, you could join the team in 15 minutes on the Morning Edge. That's a wrap, and I'll see everyone for the NFP tomorrow. It should be no frickin' problem. Thank you, Alexander.
Take care.
Adios.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.